Hello. So in this live session, we will be discussing about the reproductive system in humans, the chapter 13 of biology, ICSE class 10. So let's begin with this chapter. So this chapter is in direct continuation with the chapter of endocrine system that you just read in the previous sessions. Now we will proceed further with the knowledge into the chapter of human reproduction. So basically this chapter deals with the idea of reproduction. So now first of all, before getting into the idea of I think you are with me, right? So before getting into the idea of human reproduction and the structures of the human reproductive system, I would like to talk about, okay, says audio okay, audio quality okay. Right, so let's begin. We have over here the idea of reproduction. So now what is reproduction? Now reproduction over here, first of all, the idea of production comes in, the idea of production. So what is the idea of production? What is production actually? So production is to synthesize. And what is re is again. So synthesizing again simply means reproduction, right? So you are producing again what? You're again synthesizing individual similar to you, right? Now many of the times we hear a term, so many of the times we hear a term, why we exist. So if you watch, I mean, those interesting scientific documentaries of discovery, there is a question, why do we exist? Now the main reason of our existence is to perpetuate our own species. So what is the need of individual existence? The need of individual existence is to perpetuate our own species. Perpetuate existence of one species, right? And how we can do that? Perpetuate the existence or prolong the existence of our own species. How we can do that? Are you with me? Are you with me? Are you with me? Okay, so basically what is the idea of that? Idea is simply to perpetuate your own species, right? How you can do that? You can do that by reproduction. So basically, if I don't know whether you can recall it or not, when I was young, when I was in 5th standard or 6th standard, in our English class, we were asked to write an essay on aim in life. So basically now, if back then I used to write that my aim in life is to become a doctor, what I'm trying to become right now. But now when people ask me about the aim in life, the aim in life basically now signifies that your aim in life is to reproduce. Why to reproduce? Because the aim of your population is to perpetuate their own species, right? Can you understand that? So what is the aim of an individual in life? The aim of an individual is to reproduce. Why to reproduce? So that the population of that species can perpetuate their own existence. That is the purpose of living, right? And now when you reproduce, when your basic biological needs are met, like you have had your food, like you are not hungry, you have a place to live, your bodily functions are going well, you have grown well, because if you do not grow properly, your sexual organs will, or your reproductive system will not grow properly, and you will not be able to reproduce. So everything, all your growth and development and your life is based or is there so that so that it can enable the act of reproduction, right? So from biology point of view, or in later classes we will learn about the idea of evolution. So from evolutionary point of view, the aim in life is to reproduce, right? Now I think it is clear what to write if your English teacher asks you to write an essay on your aim in life. Is it? Isn't it? Now try to wait for a while, try to assimilate this idea. This is the basic idea or the preliminary idea about reproduction, and this idea will lead us to the next chapter that we are going to discuss, that is evolution. This very idea or this basic idea will lead us to the concept of evolution, that next chapter that we are going to deal with. Right, now let's come to the idea of the types of reproduction. Now there are two types of reproduction. Reproduction can be either asexual or it can be sexual reproduction, right? So I think you understand the idea of reproduction. Now you have to understand the idea of asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Now whenever in biology you come across a term a in front of a word, the prefix a, you have to understand this a means no. So there's a type of reproduction which can occur without sexual means, or there's another type of reproduction which requires the sexual means, right? Now what is sexual reproduction? Now if we understand the idea of sexual reproduction, then we will be able to understand what is asexual reproduction, because the absence of sexuality in the reproduction will be your asexual reproduction. So sexual reproduction has only one basic idea that you have to remember always in your life. What is that? Fusion of gametes. Fusion of gametes. So what are gametes? Gametes are sex cells. So if fusion of gametes are present, it is sexual reproduction. In case of asexual reproduction, fusion of gametes will not take place. Production of gametes may be there in rare cases, but there will be no fusion of gametes, right? So what is the basic idea of sexual reproduction? I hope you are understanding that. Right, now do you understand the idea of sexual reproduction and what is asexual reproduction? Asexual reproduction, over there you will not have gametes, right? So should I proceed further? Yeah, gamete fusion, but gamete with an e after t, right? It's a gamete, gamete fusion. Basically gamete fusion means sexual reproduction. Now based on the gametes there are sexes. Now what kind of gamete you are producing, that determines what sex you are. Now this gamete, the type of gamete, determines whether you are a male or you are a female, right? So this is your sex. Now there are two terms that you will come across in your life. One is sex and another one is gender, right? Okay, now sex is the biological basis of the type of gamete that you can produce. This is the biological basis on the type of gamete that you can produce. Mostly the motile gametes, the gametes which can move, are designated as the male gametes, and the gametes which cannot move, which are sedentary or stationary, those are known as female gametes generally, but there are many exceptions to that. No, they aren't same. That's why I'm telling you they aren't same. You were taught by your English teacher that they are same, but they aren't as far as biology is concerned. So sex is the biological basis of the type of gamete that you produce, gamete produced. So basically male signifies the biological capability of producing motile gametes in case of male humans, right? but gender is the social identity social identity given to a specific sex. Social identity given to a specific sex. So I hope now you understand the difference between sex and gender, right? Are we clear till this? So now we learned about the idea of reproduction, why we require reproduction. So the goal of reproduction, that is perpetuation of existence of our own species. What is your aim in life biologically, that we learned. Now what else we learned over here? We learned about asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So homophobic and others are based on gender. Homophobia is different thing. So homosexuality is a different kind of an idea. So sexuality is a different concept. Sexuality is defined as the basis of sexual intercourse. We will come to that, the basis of sexual intercourse. Sex are only two types. Genders, okay, we will come to that later on in details. Sex and gender, we will come to that. What is homosexuality and all that, we will come to that in details. Homosexuality is more of a social identity, but it has some biological basis, right? All right. Now let's come to that. Now are we clear till this? So I will erase the board up and we will come to that. We are coming to the idea of homosexuality in a while, right? Okay, so this part is the important part, so we are keeping this on the board. So now we have primary sexual characteristics, secondary sexual characteristics, and we have tertiary sexual characteristics, right? So what is primary sexual characteristics? Primary sexual characteristics are, or primary sexual development is what? So development of your primary sex organ, that is testes in case of boys and ovaries in case of girls, right? Then we have secondary sexual characteristics. Secondary sexual characteristics are what? Beard, chest hair, body hairs in case of boys, growth of breasts and female body pattern in females, deepening of voice in case of boys. These things are secondary sexual characteristics. Then we have something known as tertiary sexual characteristic. Tertiary sexual characteristics means your brain development, right? How your brain is developing. Now how you perceive yourself, do you perceive yourself as a girl? Do you perceive how your brain perceives your existence, or how your brain perceives your sexuality? That is, if you perceive yourself as a girl or you perceive yourself as a boy, right? That is your idea of brain. Now this brain development occurs on different basis. It occurs on social effects, it has economic effects, it has your cultural effect, it has environmental effect, many effects. Now this determines what kind of mentality or what kind of tertiary sexual characteristics you will develop, right? Now what you're trying to say about homosexuals, that homosexuality comes from the tertiary sexual characteristics, right? Now when we will further discuss about sexual characteristics development, we will come to that. Now I think we are clear till this. Now let's move on. Sexes are only two types in case of humans. In case of humans, we have good to go. Okay, let's proceed. Now we have human reproductive system. We have two sexes. What are the two sexes? We have something known as the male sex and we have something known as the female sex. right? Now female sex has a biology has assigned a symbol for female sex, that is this symbol. You write an O and a plus sign below it, and you assign an O and an arrow on the right hand upper side. Okay, these are the standard symbols for male and female sexes, right? Understood? Well, as far as I know, my mic is working fine. My mic is working fine. You may refresh it once. Now is the audio clear? Now is the audio clear? Right. And generally males are designated by a blue color and females are designated by a red color. This is a standard kind of a notation, not very important, but it is the convention, right? Okay, so in humans we have two sexes, that is male sex and female sex, right? And again another basic, red or pink. Red, pink, more or less whatever you feel good, red or pink. Sometimes red is used, sometimes pink is used, right? Now what happens, we have over here the concept of reproductive system. That means human reproductive system is again an organ system. Organ system. So organ system means what? It is comprised of certain organs, which are again comprised of certain tissues, and tissues are comprised of cells, right? So today we will talk about the organs. Later in the later classes we will talk about tissues and cells, right? Okay, so should we proceed? Right, so let's come to the male reproductive system. So if we take a LS, so suppose this is a male body, it is, if I take a LS, that is longitudinal section, if I cut the male body like this and now see the male body from this aspect, if I see, then I will see the body somewhat like this, right? Now in reproductive tract we have some word that is genitalia, actually genitals, the English word, which is written in your Latin as genitalia or external genitalia, right? Genitalia. So what are genitalia? Basically whatever is visible from outside, that is genitalia. Now if I just continue the body line, this is the body line. Can you trace the green color? I will come to that. I will come to the white letters. Don't worry, I will come to those white letters. I have better diagram of it. Don't try to copy it down. Don't bother about this diagram. I will have a better diagram of it. Now if I just trace down the line of the body, now the body line is somewhat like this, the green line that I draw, right? Can you see? This is the body line, green and yellow. So whatever is beyond or outside or hanging out or projecting out or protruding out of the body, that is your external genitalia. So in case of males we have two things, external genitalia. So the first thing that we have is your this thing, which is a penis, and another thing that we have is a scrotum, a sac like structure. Right, so these are the two things which comprise the male external genitalia, right? We have penis and we have scrotum. These are the two things which are hanging out of the human male body between the two legs. So these are the external genitalia. Now what are the internal genitalia then? Genitalia basically signify the structures of reproductive system. External means outside the body or seen from outside, and inside means whatever is present within the body. Now what else we have in the body? Now if you see, within the scrotum we have a structure. Okay, so I'm erasing out all these things, right? So let me erase out all these things. Now perhaps we have a better diagram. Okay, let's come to this diagram. Okay, so if I draw the body line again, this is the body line that I drew, right? Now over here we have this thing, this round egg-like structure. This is known as the testis or testicle in English, or the scientific term is testis. Now this is the primary sex organ in case of males, primary sex organ. Now what are the primary sex organs? The sex organs which produce gametes. And in case of males, what is the gamete? Gamete is known as the sperm in case of humans. And sperm is what? Motile. And what I said, mostly the motile gametes are, motile gamete producibility is signify male sexuality or male sex, right? Are we clear till this? Which can move around? The testicles cannot move around from one side to another. We have one pair of testicles on both sides. The scrotum is divided. Okay, yes, sperms can move around, right? But they can only move around in particular places, not everywhere. If they were allowed to move here and there all the time, they would have made a chaos, and that would have been not a very good thing to happen, right? So they can move around, but they don't move around generally, and that this diagram that you are seeing is a very realistic diagram, right? So now what concepts that we learned? We learned about the genitalia. The structures of reproductive system are known as genitalia. Now the structures which are protruding out of the human body line or can be seen from outside are known as external genitalia. Whatever is present within the body are known as internal genitalia. Now we learned about the two external genitalia in human males, that is penis and testis, and scrotum. Actually scrotum. Sometimes in your level teachers also include the testis within the external genitalia, because testis is within scrotum and which is again outside human body, hanging. It is considered to be outside the human body, right? Are you with me? Okay, so then what we learned about the concept of primary sex organ. Primary sex organs are those organs of reproductive system which produce gametes. Gametes are what? The cells of reproductive system, or the sexual reproduction, units of sexual reproduction. Okay, so gametes, this term is very important, you should remember. Gametes are units of sexual reproduction. Okay, and in case of males, human males, the gamete is known as sperm, and the sperm is motile, right? This much we have learned so far. Now we will discuss a bit more about testis and scrotum. Let's finish off the external genitalia part, then we will move to the internal genitalia. Now what happens? Why the testis is hanging outside the body? In case of females, let me give you a background. In case of females, the primary sex organ is known as ovary. Now ovaries are present within the abdominal cavity, that is within the body. But in contrast to that, the male reproductive structures are present outside the body. Now let me give you certain disadvantages of it. Now this first of all, there's a high chance of damage, there's a high chance of trauma. That means there can be injuries during sports or during a fall or in an accident. There's high chance of injury, right? That is a disadvantage. Okay, but still, even after this disadvantage is present and there's no cushioning to protect it, even after this disadvantage, the body decided to keep it outside. Why? Do you have an answer? Why testis is outside whilst ovaries are inside the human body? What went wrong? That means why this person was thrown out of the body? As you can understand that this can be harmful, this can cause injuries. Well, you are nearly correct, but that's if sperms cannot survive in the body temperature. So what happens during reproduction? The sperms go into the female body through the vagina into the uterus, and the female body temperature is quite high, or as high as human male body temperature. So how it survives within the female body then? This is not a very good idea or very good answer that you gave. Let me tell you what happens. You are close, but your answer was not correct. Basically, what happens? Spermatogenesis. There's a process. By now, I think you understand genesis means formation and spermato means sperm formation. So sperm formation requires temperature 2 to 3 degrees centigrade less than body temperature. And the enzymes which are involved in spermatogenesis, in order to function, they require temperatures 2 to 3 degrees centigrade less than that of body temperature, right? And that's why, so that spermatogenesis can take place, the testis is kept outside the body. Now, how keeping out will ensure that 2 to 3 degrees centigrade temperature difference is maintained? Now in summertime, when outside temperature is very, I will finish the class very soon, not a problem. I will finish the class very soon. Let me just finish off the external genitalia part, then I will finish it off. Okay, should I proceed? Okay, so basically what happens, so what ensures that the body temperature will be kept in 2 to 3 degrees centigrade less always? So now over here in this walls of the scrotum, we have muscles. Now the muscles are known as your dartos, right? Dartos. And this long cable like thing contains a muscle known as cremaster. You don't need to remember the name, cremaster. Now these two muscles ensure that the body temperature, the testis gets a proper temperature to function. How? Now during summertime, when the outside temperature is very high, okay, so in that situation and body temperature is again higher, so what it does, the muscles relax. So what happens, the scrotum descends down further, right? So it descends down, the muscles relax and the scrotum descends down. So what this descending down causes? So this helps in maintaining a proper distance from the body so that the testes can cool down, and also it helps in proper aeration so that the air can pass around the scrotum so that the body temperature can be brought down, right? So that is the idea. And what happens in case of winter time? These muscles contract and the testis, the scrotum shrinks, and this moves towards the body so that it can get heat from the body, so that the temperature does not fall way less than 2 to 3 degrees or fall more than 2 to 3 degrees, right? This kind of adjustment is only possible if you put testes in a muscular bag. So what are the muscular bag-like structures that we have in human body? We have uterus, we have urinary bladder, we have stomach, and this is out a muscular bag outside the body, that is scrotum, right? Now if you have excessive heat around the scrotal area, what will happen? If you have excessive heat, then the spermatogenesis will not take place. If spermatogenesis does not take place, then sperm formation won't take place. If sperm formation does not take place, then there will be no sperms. So that will render the person or the man infertile. If spermatogenesis does not take place, so that will render a man or a boy infertile. That means the person will never be able to beget a baby of his own, right? Now what are the conditions that lead to this? These are a bit of applied biology that you should know for your own health and for examination purpose as well, right? That is the beauty of biology. Once you start learning biology, you start to understand your own, what's good for your health. You become more and more conscious about your own health, and you start to understand what's good and what's bad for your own health. That's the beauty of biology. Are you with me? Are you with me? So basically what happens? So heat. So whenever you have excessive heat around the scrotum, there can be problems with spermatogenesis. Now what are the situations that can cause excessive heat or increased temperature? If you keep a laptop on your lap for long, the base of the laptop gets heated up, and if you keep it on your lap, the heat is transferred or heat reaches your scrotum, and scrotal area gets, or genital area gets heated up. So this practice for long duration can render you spermless or infertile. It's permanent. So after a certain period, initially it's reversible, as with most of the diseases in biology, but as time progresses, these things become permanent, right? Okay, and what can happen? Keeping your smartphone near your crotch. Phone. So most of the time what happens, so basically if this is the pant, these are the pockets, people keep the phone near their crotch in this region. All right, so phone near crotch. The smartphones sometimes get heated up, mostly during summertime, and they can cause increased heat near the scrotum. So that's why boys are always advised to keep the phone away from the pant pocket, or if you are compelled to keep it in your pant pocket, suppose you are wearing a t-shirt, or you're going shirtless, you don't have a provision to keep your phone away, so just keep the phone away from your crotch region, this region, okay, or in your back pocket. That's another situation. Or what happens, the scientists or the people who work in wintry regions or cold atmosphere, the boys wear thermal underwears. So this long-term usage of thermal underwears cause what? They cause an increased temperature around scrotum, lead to problems with spermatogenesis. So 3 points which are most important. Or regular practice of having swimming in hot water and stuff like that. So I think this is clear. So whatever increases your temperature near your crotch region, tight pants, tight inners, not only thermal underwear but tight underwears as well, extremely tight underwears. Excessive coldness is also harmful, I know, but that's why in wintry regions, it is told to avoid wear thermal underwears, wear normal underwears. Normal underwears are enough to provide you with enough warmth, right? And excessive cold, you will not get excessive cold because your body will adjust the muscle so that the scrotum moves towards the body and it gets the heat, right? So these are life lessons, kind of. Now we come to the second external genitalia, that is penis, right? Now what will happen? So this is a penis. So this is a cylindrical erectile structure. So this is not a muscular structure. It has very few amount of muscle in it. It contains very few smooth muscle strands, very few smooth muscle strands. I mean very few smooth muscle strands in it, but it is erectile tissue, not muscular. The main mistake that people make in examination, that they say penis is a muscular organ. It is not. It is not predominantly muscle. It is erectile. It is cylindrical. It is erectile. That means erectile means what? It can change its diameter and its length, right? Erectility means what? It can change its diameter and it can change its length. That means it can increase or decrease in length, or it can increase and decrease in diameter to a certain limit. Right? It is your copulatory organ. Copulatory organ means penetrating organ. This is the organ which penetrates into the female body during the act of lovemaking or during the sexual act. So these are the 3 points about penis that you're supposed to know. Right. Now how the penis gets erected and all that things, we will come one by one. Now let's talk about the structure of the penis. Now within the penis, see, we have what? So there are 3 parts. This long rod shaped part, this part, what I'm marking, this rod shaped part, this is known as the shaft, right? This part, this round part is known as the neck, and this bulging end, smooth shiny bulging end, is known as the glans or head, right? Now the head of the penis is covered by a smooth fold of skin, I mean very thin fold of skin. That thin fold of skin is known as foreskin or prepuce. Just remember foreskin, right? It is retractable. The prepuce is retractable. That means it can glide back up, revealing the head of the penis during the act of sexual intercourse, right? So these are the parts of the penis: shaft, neck and glans. And the skin over the glans, foreskin is basically the skin over the loose. Okay, so what is foreskin? What was the problem with normal skin? Very good question. Why we cannot have normal skin? Now if we have the normal skin, then what will happen? So whenever the skin is covering the head, in many times in many males, the prepuce is not retractable, only normal skin is there, right? But the skin of the skin of the glans is a bit thick and it is smooth, so it helps in gliding. That's first point. So if the skin of the glans is revealed, so the glans is very smooth, so during entry it will give a smooth glide, first point. And secondly, what will happen if the retractability of the foreskin is not there during erection? The penis will face a difficult time to increase in length. So because foreskin is of a particular length, after a certain while it cannot increase any longer in length, right? It's like your socks cannot increase further in length. So then what happens? If you cut the end of the socks, your fingers protrude out. So similarly, as the length of the penis increases, after a certain period the foreskin automatically retracts back, right? So this provides you the opportunity of more easy or more eased erection achieving, right? But there are many situations, so every penis is unique. So in many cases males have unretractable foreskin. That can be normal, that can be diseased. If that is not creating any problem, so that's normal. Okay, so it is a loose fold of skin over glans, right? Okay, now let's move on. Now if we cut the penis, it's a cylinder like structure. So if I cut the cylinder and see what's within, suppose we have cut the cylinder like this and then we are looking into the penis, what happens? So this is the top, so this is signifies as the top side, and this is near the scrotum is known as the bottom, right? Now top is basically known as the dorsal in biology, bottom is known as the ventral in biology, right? Now this part is your dorsal and this part is your ventral, right? Okay, so one thing that I forgot to mention, so through the penis passes your urethra. Can you recall urethra? The final common pathway for genital tract and urinary tract. This urethra passes through the penis. This is the, so this length of the urethra is the penile urethra, which is the longest, and this is absent or lacking in females. Can you recall that? No, urethra is not retractable. Urethra is a fixed with the glans. Only the foreskin is retractable. Urethra is not retractable. Urethra can change in length along with the penis. Alright. It is firmly attached with the penis. Coming to that. So basically this is the dorsal part and this is the ventral part. Now as you can see, there are three distinct cylinders. This is one cylinder, this is another cylinder, and this is a third cylinder. There are three cylindrical forms of erectile tissue, right? And over here we have blood vessels, and finally this opening is the urethra. Right. Now in case of lower mammals like dogs, cats, etc., the erection that is achieved, that is hardening and elongation and increase in diameter of the penis for the act of copulation, is by bones. Bone is present in penis which provides the hardness and penetrating power. But in case of humans, how the erection is achieved? Erection is achieved by means of your blood flow. What happens? Blood flows into the penis, it starts to accumulate in the spaces in the erectile tissue, it accumulates in the spaces, and the outflow veins are blocked. This blockage of outflow veins cause pooling of blood in the penis, and as blood is pulled into the penis elongates, increases in diameter, and becomes hard. So erection, and that process is known as erection. Erection in man or human is vasculogenic, because vessels control that. The outflow tract or veins does not allow the flow back of blood into the body, and arteries start pulling blood into the penis, right? So that is the thing. Three cylinders of erectile tissue are present. That's it, that you were supposed to know, right? Okay, so this was more or less the idea of male reproductive system, structure of the male reproductive tract. We will go get into the internal genitalia in the next class. Let's finish the class over here, right? Okay, so we read about reproduction, and let's finish the class over here. Okay.